Hello, it's Christine at Spring Creek Bathworks, and 6 days ago I made 2 loaves of vanilla soap. These have been in the mold for 6 days, so watch how easily this comes out. There we go. I got a custom order for 1 loaf and I decided to just double it. I'll either sell it or use it myself. Anytime that you have vanilla in a soap, it will, this one has drips on the top. It will turn brown, and this is a normal chemical reaction due to the vanillin, which is the chemical name for the vanilla. This one has drips. I'm going to show you the difference between insulating your cold process soap and not insulating it. This was a little bit left over that I poured into these single cavity molds, and this one was just in the open air, and so far you see the difference in color. Now that's because this one was in room temperature and this one was insulated around with towels to keep the heat in longer, and this might darken up anyway. Let me set that to the side and let's give this a cut. I've been so busy teaching that I didn't... Oh, look! How cool is that? Now, as this cures over the next 3 weeks, this whole thing is going to turn dark brown, but that's really cool looking. You can see that it starts on the edges, and then it's going to be totally dark brown, just like the outside looks. There we go. I've been working 70 hours a week this year consistently. Sometimes I can get it down to 65 or 60. And I have put in my notice to resign at the end of this contract year. I've made the decision after 3 years. I did a student teaching for 1 semester, and then I did 3 years working in the public school, and I am done with public education. I am leaving teaching in public education. I'm going to be looking for part-time employment. Either, I'm not sure what I'm going to do. I may be teaching homeschool kids part-time. I may start my own company. I might do tutoring. There's many options that I have available to me, and I am not going to rush into this. I need to work less than 70 hours a week at this point. I don't like the pace of it. My first year, I worked 90 hours a week. I had 3 preps. That means I taught 3 different classes, so I had to make plans for 3 different classes in 2 different grade levels. My main role was an 8th grade English language arts teacher in my year 1 at this public school. My year 2, they moved me to grade 7. I did not ask for that. I had to prepare my students for both a reading standardized test and for a writing essay and editing and revising with English grammar tests. So I had to learn that new thing. I taught through the pandemic. My first year teaching was the year that the pandemic began. The last 9 weeks of that year was virtual. I taught online through Zoom in that time. We did what we were told. We had strict guidelines of what we could do, what we were told to do from the district. We were only allowed to review previously taught material. And then year 2 was the pandemic in grade 7, and then at that we had only 4 weeks virtual, and then we were in person with masks on. I taught some kids, I taught over Zoom at the same time as I had students in my classroom. As the year went on, as students were failing and unable to have the self-discipline in grade 7 to do their work, they would come into the classroom. Almost everybody was back in person by the end of the school year. I also taught an elective class of a mixed class of grades 6, 7, and 8. And they called it Genius Hour. It was a project-based learning. It was supposed to be for gifted and talented students, but not everybody was gifted and talented. Some students were high achievers. And it was a project-based learning where they got to learn things that they wanted to learn, and we did oral presentations. We also were told that we had to do the stock market game, and I had done that with homeschoolers with my husband as teacher, so now I was teaching it. The kids knew nothing about the stock market, so it was okay for a first year experience. I think they got what was out of that, what they could have gotten out of it as grades 6, 7, and 8 when you know nothing about the finance industry. They started thinking like investors and thinking about consumers and business and industry and things like that. And then this year, I was moved against my will to teach 6th grade English language arts. And our primary focus this year has been on reading, because in Texas we have to do this STAR standardized test. And a new company has the contract this year, so they're making a new test. And everybody is trying to figure out what they think is going to be on the test. So we've primarily been teaching reading. And the first half of the year I taught some things that I felt kids should know, like Greek and Latin roots, how to memorize, how to use the Leitner system of flashcard studying. I was doing quick writes and having kids write every day. I also had them pick out their own novels, and they were reading every day silently in order to be able to learn how to sit still and read, and how to just experience and enjoy a book and keep your focus on a book. For the second half of the year, we are being told we can only teach reading, and I'm teaching exactly what my coworkers are all teaching, and I've lost the ability to customize and do exactly what I think is right and what these kids need. And so I'm leaving public education. I don't want to keep up working this many hours. I have many reasons and many issues with the Texas STAR test. I have issues with public education. It is different and worse than what I thought it was back when I was homeschooling my own kids. It has changed a ton since I myself went to public school in the 1970s and 1980s. So anyway, here is some soap that I made last week on the weekend, and now it's another weekend, and I'm cutting it, and it smells great. This is just a pure vanilla. There's no perfume notes, there's no powder, there's no amber, there's no anything else. It's just a solid vanilla, and I was asked by a man to make this for him. So here we go. See you later. Bye.